Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Flow of Consciousness YouTube channel. Yesterday I decided to go to a public event, which was a picnic in the park here in Margit in Budapest. It's an island with a lot of nature and it's absolutely beautiful, especially when the sun is shining and the weather is nice. Now, it was a gathering of vegan people who organized a picnic, and I decided I wanted to go there because actually a good friend of mine told me that the event was taking place, and I thought it was an interesting event for me to attend. Now, as I went there, I realized, well, hey, I actually don't know anyone there, so I'm curious what it will be like. And I was very surprised when I arrived that there was so many people who showed up. Now, as I started interacting with these people, right, at first it's a little bit strange. You know, nobody there. You feel a little bit anxious, maybe. You don't know how to behave or if people are actually going to resonate with you or not. But after a while, you start to understand that there is many people who feel exactly the same way, right? If you don't come with a friend and you show up alone, you feel a little bit weird initially. You feel a little bit afraid or anxious because you don't know who these people are, what they are doing, and if whether or not they are judging you, right? So as I started to interact with more and more people, I quickly came to understand that everybody here feels a little bit strange or awkward and nobody really knows what to say. So in a social interaction, it's important to actually take the lead, right? And the way you take the lead in a social interaction like that is by sharing something about yourself, maybe a small story, or you tell something that you like or that you did the day before. And by that, you allow other people to actually jump in the conversation and share something from themselves. But if they are scared and afraid and anxious, it's usually very difficult for them to start taking the lead. Now, if you offer them a way to interact in the conversation, then they will usually jump in and it will open up the opportunity for other people to actually share something about themselves. And I thought it was a really interesting experience for me because I believe that everybody in new social situations, new social environments feels afraid initially, is anxious initially. And I did too. I was a little bit uncomfortable there in the start because I didn't know how these people would react to my behavior, right? But as I got into it, as I started talking to more and more people, I became very happy and joyful. I understood that these are all such beautiful people. I am having such a good time, and everybody is so gentle and open and welcoming. And by offering them ways to interact with what I'm talking about, offering small, these jumping planches where you can jump off, by offering these to people so they can enjoy and interact with me, I create some kind of platform where everybody can share something about themselves. And I talked to a few people one on one, and I understood that they probably came here alone or they're a little bit shy. So I try to make them feel comfortable in the conversation so they feel free to talk about the things that interest them. And in such situations, I think it's very important to make people feel safe, right? You want to set aside all your judgments. You want to understand that you might feel anxious, but they feel equally as anxious, if not more, right? So if you can realize that, if you can understand that everybody who is finding themselves in a new social environment initially feels afraid because this is maybe a little bit more of an evolutionary aspect or an evolutionary perspective, but thousands and thousands of years ago, we used to live in small tribes, right? And we as humans, we are very bad at many things. We don't have sharp claws, we don't have protection, we don't have an exoskeleton to keep us safe from whatever harsh environments we find ourselves in. We don't have sharp teeth or super strong muscles. Whereas animals, they have those things, right? Like a gorilla is extremely strong, or a snake has protection around its body, right? There's many different animals who are adapted to the environment they live in. But we as humans, we're actually super vulnerable beings. So we needed to rely on our tribe to survive. We hunted in groups, we were living in small communities. And if we would have been socially rejected, if we would have been casted out of the tribe, that quite literally meant death. So of course, evolutionary from an evolutionary perspective, we want to be careful with not upsetting the tribe, with not behaving in such a way that would make everybody judge us, because if we were casted out of the tribe, we would die. Within a few days, we can't survive all by ourselves in the wilderness. It's practically impossible. Well, it used to be practically impossible, because nowadays it's actually not a problem anymore, because you can move on from one tribe to another fairly quickly. Now, the fear and the anxiety is still wired in our beings. So initially, we still feel this incredible fear of judgment, because it's a visceral reaction. We are so afraid that the tribe will immediately reject us. And if they do, that means we would not be able to survive. Now, once you know this, you can work with that. You can understand that this fight or flight response, this protective mechanism, it takes a small amount of time to settle. You need to give it some time to understand that, okay, this environment is safe. I can interact with the people. They're actually friendly. Surprisingly, I mean, not surprisingly, but you would be surprised by how many people are actually genuinely good people. Like, many of us, we feel afraid of the outside world, and we think everybody is against us and everybody has bad intentions, maybe because you have been hurt in the past many times, or you've been betrayed. And so your vision of the world becomes a little bit more grim, and you become a little bit more jaded. Now, most people actually have good intentions. They want to have a good time. They want to help others. They want to be welcoming. They don't want to judge you, right? So if you know this and you understand that your system needs a little bit of time to settle into the environment, to feel safe, then you can allow yourself to be a little bit vulnerable in this interaction, because people are rooting for you, right? If somebody takes the lead and shows a small part of themselves that could potentially be taken advantage of, people could mock you for it, or people could laugh. They will not do that. They will root for you. They will see that it took courage to speak up. And most people admire that because they feel so afraid themselves. So they admire that you had the courage, that you were so brave to actually show that you're willing to put yourself out there, to spark a conversation, to allow other people to engage. And I think it can maybe be useful for you to think about this. Next time you go to a social event, understand that everybody who's there is a little bit afraid, is a little bit insecure. Everybody. And if they don't bring friends and they're there by themselves, I bet they are anxious. I bet they are afraid, because nobody feels 100% safe in a new social environment when they're there alone by themselves. Nobody does. So when you understand this, it can maybe create some bridges between you and other people, because you understand they feel exactly the same as you do. And it can allow you to get out of your head a little bit, because once you're there, you're thinking to yourself, oh, everybody's judging me here and everybody thinks I'm stupid or whatever. This is not true. Not everybody is thinking that. You know what everybody is thinking? Exactly the thing that you are thinking. They are thinking to themselves, oh, I hope nobody's judging me, and I hope that I'm making a good impression, and blah, 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 blah. Right? So when you understand this, you can just start a conversation and people will be relieved, literally relieved, that you are the one who took the lead, that you are the one who started the conversation, and be like, ah, yes, finally somebody who kind of accepts me and who wants to talk to me and who makes me feel not weird, because the longer I'm here alone by myself, the weirder I feel, and people will judge me even more because I am alone in a group of people. That's so weird. It's not. It's not, but people feel like that, and you can actually break the ice and take the lead and quickly come to understand that people want to talk, people want to feel good, people want to share things about themselves and learn about you. And most of us have good intentions. Most of us are very gentle and open to receive you as a human being. So it's about being brave, showing courage, and stepping a little bit out of your comfort zone. And I'm extremely grateful that I went there and I decided to talk to all these people, because they were such beautiful, wonderful souls. They were all so genuine, so open. A lot of the people that I talked to were interested in the same topics. And when I shared my journey, when I shared the thing that I was doing, basically this YouTube channel, they were all so excited about it. They were asking questions. It was beautiful. It was amazing, right? So sharing something vulnerable about yourself. And I told them I was afraid. I am afraid with this YouTube channel. It's really a journey. I'm not sure what is going to happen with this, and I put in lots of time and effort, but it's still an uncharted territory, and that is inherently scary. So they were very excited about this, that I was willing to show this part of myself, and it allowed them to share something about their fears and their insecurities, and it made the conversation so rich, and I very, very much enjoyed it. So I would like to invite you to take these perspectives and thoughts into consideration, maybe, and next time you go to a social event, realize that probably everybody there has at least some kind of fear or anxiety of being judged. So thank you for being here with me. I hope you learned something today. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you tomorrow.